Tommy's gonna taste the gin so that you don't have to. Let you save your money, yeah, that's what Tommy wants. Minimal dilution, cause we wanna taste the gins. But if the gins are bad, then we will throw them in the bin. Now let's hand it over to Tommy, who is gonna taste. He's gonna get all rowdy and shout up the place.
What's up, biatch? Welcome back to Tommy Tastes, the channel where I taste the gin so that you don't have to. And as we do with every week, we're going to be trying that gin neat. It's the turn of one of the prettiest bottles I've come across, that is Mermaid Gin. This comes from the Isle of Wight distillery, who are the first and only distillery on the exotic paradise that is the Isle of Wight. One of the UK's less zany islands, I think it's safe to say. This is a super pretty bottle which I think lures several people in. And pretty bottles, as we've kind of gone through on this channel before, I was a huge fan of Twisted Nose, but they can kind of be, you know, it's just a marketing ploy at the end of the day. I'm personally a big fan of selling gin in like fag packet styles with the olive green colour to really separate the people that like gin from those that don't, and meaning that each gin can actually be tried on its tasting merits as opposed to its bottles. However, that's marketing suicide, so that's not going to happen. So until then, I think it's up to us to try the gins that come in pretty bottles like Mermaid Gin and correctly assess them where possible. This is a gin that's not really going for the mainstream. To start off, 42% ABV. That's a pretty solid ABV that I'm a fan of. I'd probably like 43% more, but I'm happy with 42. And it's more of a terroir style gin.
I think you'll be finding, Nipper, that I actually can't do Isle of Wight accent, so it's going to come out as a little more West Country, but this is all about terroir.
Terroir is mirroring the botanicals and soil and environment that the gin is produced in, meaning that there's kind of 4 key botanicals that go into this gin. The leading botanical is something called rock samphire, or as it's known on the Isle of Wight, Mermaid's Kiss. The way I was always thinking about how to explain rock samphire is like the asparagus of the sea. It's very herbaceous, it's salty, but it's kind of not a flavour that everyone's going to like. So along with the rock samphire, you've got things like Boadicea hops, so really kind of adding a lot of bitterness and maybe some like fruity aromatics. Elderflower, bit bitter, bit floral, and then grains of paradise, which gives more of a peppery, bubblegummy, aromatic flavour. On the whole, I'm expecting this gin to be quite salty, quite earthy. It does have other botanicals in it, classic things, orris root, cardamom, coriander, citrus zest, things like that. But obviously it really wants to make the terroir shine.
It gets downright sluttish outside, and that's what contributes to the terroir that we have.
So I think it's time we get this in a glass and have a little taste.
Apologies to everyone from the Isle of Wight. If it makes up for it in any way, I was born in Great Yarmouth.
So as you can see there, we've got a nice clear gin that we're working with. Let's get our nose in there and have a little whiff.
Well, there's the classic notes here of mally shaggers, gallybaggers, and chucky pigs.
The first thing to say about the nose is that it is really, really nice. As I suspected, they are definitely going with the terroir style a little more.
Fucking poncy French word.
The juniper is a little muted and hidden in the background. It's not quite as pronounced as I was expecting it to be, but it's still really nice nonetheless. The saltiness and the earthiness is there. I get like some pepperiness. There's like some fruity citrus things, but these are quite in the background, as expected, because maybe lemons aren't terroir of the Isle of Wight. This is an island, bear in mind, that I once found a shop specialising in what can only be described as racist toys. So I hope that this leaves a better taste in my mouth than that A-level geography trip did. Here we go, cheers!
Who's this pinch fart slagging us off with all his yopple?
This is a gin that you really need to relax into. It's not something that you're ever going to try the first time and go, wow, that's phenomenal. Like I said when I reviewed Edinburgh Seaside Gin, it did take me about half the bottle to actually work out whether I liked the gin or not. In the end, I worked out that I loved it, but it did take a long time for me to get that salty, earthy tang that it has. This feels a lot more savoury. There's definitely like this salty earthiness to it. It's a little bit muddled, and the earthiness really lingers on the finish. However, it's really got some nice kind of sweet notes that run through it from that citrus zest, and the finish is really bitter, but in a nice, like, refreshing way, which I'm guessing is what the hops bring to the party here. The elderflower I'm not picking up so much, but maybe it's doing stuff to boost like the sweeter notes, and then there's definitely spice there as well. On the whole, this is really, really nice. So I'm going to crack some ice in there and just see how that changes. As you can see, nice and clear there, so we've obviously got a chill filtered gin. Cheers!
Under the sea, darling, it's better down where it's wetter, take it from me.
The ice really helps to set this gin alive. It's much more sweet, spicy. The juniper is still really quite hidden. You can totally tell that it's a gin. It's got all the classic gin traits, but I would like just a little bit more of a juniper punch in there, but I'm guessing that they've kind of reduced the juniper in order to really enhance the more terroir style of this gin. It's really, really nice. I can't really knock it. So kind of the question is, would I have this over Seaside by Edinburgh? Let's whack a little bit of tonic in there, and then maybe, if I'm not dropping my lid all the time, see what we're working with. So, just a splash of tonic.
Run out of minorly humorous things to say, just imagine that I'm slagging myself off.
The problem with the gin now is that it is a little delicate. On account of being a terroir gin, they really want to highlight the nuances that they have within their terroir. And when you dilute with tonic, it just fades. And although it's like a nice longer drink, I would never dilute this gin. I think it was really, really good neat. I think you could whack this in the freezer and it would be fantastic. And I liked it with the ice as well, but with the tonic, it just doesn't cut through. Kind of the same like Edinburgh Gin Seaside Edition did. So to give you some kind of conclusion about Mermaid Gin, this is an interesting gin. I really like this. This retails around the £39 mark, so really quite expensive for a 70cl bottle. Edinburgh Seaside, by comparison, is about £29.30, so you get about a tenner change with Edinburgh Seaside. I have to say, I think Edinburgh Seaside is better. That's not to take anything away from this gin. However, Edinburgh Seaside just left me all round way more satisfied with what it was, and I think did a better job of showing coastal terroir. This does have like some of those kind of citrusy sweeter notes in it, which is good and will certainly help it with people that maybe aren't so into the salty, savoury earthiness of this. But it feels a little more muddled than Edinburgh Seaside, and yeah, I mean, the bottle's prettier for sure, but, you know, I'm never going to buy a gin on the strength of its bottle unless, like, I don't know, it doubles as a fleshlight or something like that. When I go to my Spirits Oracle, that being Masters of Malt, this has more reviews than I've seen of any gin ever. Any gin like Gordon's, Beefeater, Tanqueray, Bombay, you know, the big hitting gins, they all have around 100 reviews. This is like stratospheric by comparison. But it gets 3 stars, and it varies between 5-star reviews of this is the best thing I've ever had, and 0 or half-star reviews that claim it to be totally rancid. One of my favourite reviews, for example, reads as follows.
Such a let-to I would bother. Was completely underwhelmed with the lack of taste, nothing pleasurable about this gin. Got hint of coriander once swirled around in mouth, which tasted gross. Better of getting a more established brand at this price point, less chance of disappointed one. That's a rated 5-star would be good indication.
So there we go. I don't think I can really give it a much better review than that. However, I would give this a solid 4 stars. I'm not into denoting things in star ratings, but this is certainly not a 5-star gin, but it's way better than a mediocre 3 stars. This is really, really nice, but Edinburgh Seaside is better. I'm sorry, Mermaid, you're gonna need to kiss me a little more. Pucker up.
Yeah, like and subscribe, girl. Like and subscribe. What?